Good afternoon, everyone. Just that little bit of delay factor that comes in as I speak, but that's okay. If it's too bad, do let me know. I'm Ros Boundy on behalf of Boomer Press, bringing you the session today for learning, starting writing, keeping writing. Is it about learning writing? Look, probably not. Although there might be some of that component of learning how to write in the course that I'm building. I haven't decided yet. Depends on what your needs are. So I'm open to any suggestions around course building and the rest, what you're wanting to learn, as much as the basic course that I'm bringing forward, that is Unlock Your Writing Potential. There could be some more steps that you might define that you're needing as well. Though that's the by and by, that's going to be a little further into the next year. Well, not further into the next year, it's going to be at the next year. Decided to time it so that the course lives start in January, probably not the first week, the second week. We'll see what the timing goes like for that. But what we're here today for is to sort of continue what I've been doing in the last couple of weeks, is using the deck, and I've not put up the table yet. Here we go. Let's go to this. So I've been showing you this particular deck of cards that are a tool for doing memoir writing, and it's called the Life Story Interview Kit. And it is a tool for capturing their memories. So it's more for that time where you might be interviewing your parents, whether it's together or whether it's one at a time, whether you even want to do video interviewing compared to just a voice, recording it on a phone that has your voice activation, recording as just audio. But it's probably so much more meaningful for the kids and you yourself, being children of the parents, obviously, that you might want it as video. So this is just a kit, a tool that is helpful to bring up questions that you might ask in a sort of an interview style, I suppose, so that it's not so much scripted, but you've just got some questions jotted down on a sheet of paper if you want. Make up your own. I mean, what sort of questions is it that you really do want to ask your parents or aunts and uncles, and that type of process that you can write a memoir, or family history if you want. It's not just about memoir. Now let me get this out. So I'm opening this. This is how I've been setting it up in the previous ones, because what we've got here, of course, as part of the kit is, in the end, we'll all become stories, and that's the way we will be remembered. How many people really have the memory of their grandparents in detail, of their great-grandparents? Not many of us. I do vaguely remember my great-grandparents. I remember seeing them live, but as far as their stories go, I actually have no idea, and it would have been a good idea. It would have been lovely to have known what they lived through in the early 1900s as young adults and parents of children that were in the wars, all of that type of thing. So this is what these are. I'm just laying out the ones that we are next using, because I'm just leaving them as they are. I shuffled them right at the start of doing these sessions, so that what we have is a series of questions. I don't have to be concerned about then finding which ones we've already gone through and the rest. That's how many we've used so far. So I'm just going to put those down there. As you can see, we've used those. That's the pile that we've gone through. So, and the way that I've been doing it with you is to share, and I've just got a little bit too well spread out, haven't I? Hang on, let me just do it this way. because I haven't got a big table here. Just needing to, there, that's a bit better, so we can see them all. And I might even just be able to zoom over to bring them in a little more, because we've got those things there. I'll just bring them in a little more like this. Oops, that's too far, isn't it? I need them a little there. That's a bit easier, so we can see them with a bit more visual. See them on the screen. Okay, now what I showed you last Monday was using Scrivener to actually place these. Or did I show you how I was placing these questions in the realm of Scrivener? I probably did have the question set up, or did I? No, I think what I did was actually show you opening a new file with this, so you had most of the sessions sorted that way. But anyway, I'm just going to have a look, see where we're at the moment. So these ones would have been the last Mondays. I'm just going to see if I can quickly bring up the tab 4, and now I can't remember which one it is. I think it's that one. No, it's not that one. Sound levels. The overlays is the one I'm wanting to do. So let me just show you here. These are the current ones that we're going to be doing now. Now, this was Mondays, so that's what I have here in the Scrivener program. If you remember, what I was able to do was set up, this one is in a lecture note form. What I showed you on Monday was the fiction novel. So this is in lecture notes, so that what I'm doing is, oops, I've got them, don't know. Oh, you saw that one? It does show up on screen. Oh, interesting. So this one here, it is lecture notes format, as you can see. Scrivener does give you, with a template, the hints and ways to use it, so you're not left in the lurch. And I've just had this from these steps. It gives you the goals, and that's probably one of the opening questions. That's one of my writings. I decided to just brain dump a little, and that's what I believe, being at peace with myself and the world around me. That's part of what the book is that I've already written. So here we go. You can see the little notes I've done and highlights. So this was Mondays. Now we've got the blank 13th session that's going to be the ones that are what I've got here ready for us to move along with. So I'm going to finish with the screen share, and we'll go back to what we're looking at with those questions that I'm going to be putting into that particular file. You can do it with WordPress or any of the word processing type programs that you like to use. That's just the one that I'm using because I really like how it's easy to organise things so that I know where they are, because sometimes it gets a little bit hair-raising to try and find things. And further, as we add photos and things like that, it can be organised in the Scrivener as well. And I'll, as I practice that more, I'll be able to take some of you, well, those who want to, those who are watching, through that process, because it is actually quite easy. Okay. So from here, what we're looking at, first one is our early life. So who were your closest friends as a teenager? As I'm looking at this, because I haven't looked at these questions any earlier than you have, as far as what I've opened up that box and we've laid these out. This is, I'm seeing these the same time as you are. So closest friends, I know probably for most of us it would be those who are the friendships that we'd grown and developed from our school days and our social activities. I know for myself, as far as my high school years, because I did do high school, it was a common thing to go through to matriculation, or whatever it's called, year 13 even, just as I finished my schooling, they were bringing in that level year 13 for those that wanted to do one extra subject just to get that spread of the matriculation level over a 2-year period rather than a 1-year period. It was intensive study pattern, doing it in 1 year. That's when I did mine, it was that. And, you know, there certainly were a group of friends that you became very close with at that point in time, as you knew that you were going to complete your schooling and move into probably not adult years yet, but certainly it wasn't far off being an adult legally with the age of 18, because I think when I finished my year 12 matriculation I was 16 and soon to move into being 17. So I think that's how old I was. Do you know, it's hard to remember. It was 1976, I was 17, just as I left school. So that's the age that we were then. So on average, that's how old we would have been. So you'd still be growing and developing social groups even then. Past school years, it would have been probably early working days. So I have been able to continue friendships with at least, well, for me it was very select. From those school years, I've remained a very close friend with one in particular. So it's going to be a fairly easy process to write about this for me, because we do still catch up in these later years now. And she has moved back to South Australia, where she was living in the other states on the east coast for quite a lot of years. She married from over a chap over there. Chap, gee, that's an old term, isn't it? A man who she met in Victoria, I think it was, when they were together in Victoria, through the services, armed services. So it was really good friendship, as we can grow together in that sort of way, and well, you do. So closest friends. I know my sister has a regular group of, I think there was 4 or 5 of them, 4 of them who've remained really close friends from those school years, and still get together today. So write up what your memories are of that to the best that you can. And if you've got photos, certainly add some of those in. I think it's wonderful going back to old school photos and school journals if you've still got them. I have a great deal of fun doing that. And our midlife question for today is, what are your treasured memories of happy times spent together? And that's a very open question, because it's not saying who it's with. It's not saying whether it's family, your partner, your husband, wife, friends. It's very open-ended. So, and I think too, what you understand of what treasured memories are would certainly be different to what mine are as far as happy times. That interpretation for you could be different to mine as well. So it's going to be a really great time for you to discover some of those things that you might think that you've forgotten about. But when we spend time really putting our thoughts to this, that we can come up with quite a bit of information to jot down, and probably remember those funny stories and those things that really are close to our hearts still about those memories and the happy times. You may even decide that you don't have a great deal of happy times that stick in your mind. I'm sure everybody has. But there may be something that's more, rather than a happy time, but significant of time that you'd spent together with someone special, someone that was just acquaintance. There are times when we really don't know how we are influencing other people in our lives, or being influenced by them in the way that we interact and spend time together, isn't it? So bring it on. Spend the time to think about this one. Think as broadly as you can if you want to, and you might be surprised at what sort of memories you do come up with. Midlife, it doesn't have to be midlife, it can be part of your early life if you want to, or the later life and reflections. But for the theme of how we are doing this, probably is easier to stick with that is more that middle road, that midlife area that you experienced these. To keep it in that trend of probably creating that theme that you might like. You might, in the end, have something that is early life trend for a memoir, then you might do a second memoir on a theme that is around your midlife, and later life being a third. Do a trilogy of some sort that themes differently. There's so many different ways to use these and to create what is our story. You are the one that's created your story, so continue to move into that with writing your story. Here in our later life and reflection, what do you think are the greatest changes to society in your lifetime? Fantastic question, because it so happens that on my Ros Boundy page, just before I was waiting 15 minutes ago, before I was waiting to bide my time for my time slot for this session, I was scrolling through Facebook, as we do, and there was a particular post that someone had made that was, we are the last generation potentially who have known social media, mobile phones and all of that. It's on my Ros Boundy profile, not the page, the business page, it's on the profile. You might like to pop over there and have a look at it just to see what the post is, because we do have great changes that we ourselves have gone through, like my parents had gone through. Hi Mark, lovely to see you here. And making a comment, thank you. It's lovely to see you here, fellow hypnotherapist. There you go. And on, now I can't remember which state you are, US, isn't it? Is it US or Canadian? Sometimes my memory does wander a little bit. Not wander, but it does, pinpointing of the many list of friends that are on Facebook, etc., can be a little challenging, but I do remember you're not here in Australia. So lovely to have you here. So with this, what do you think are the greatest changes that you yourself have experienced? Because I was just about to say, with my parents, they were born in the 1930s, 30 and 31. So a lot of their early years was definitely experienced going to school by walking or horse and buggy or riding a horse, because it wasn't every family having a car or two. It was not every family even had a car. I'm pretty sure they did, but I'm not sure at what age or what year they did. So I do know that Mum and Dad used to go riding horse and buggy to school that was local to their area, and that is the way that they did that and experienced that. And all the fun things that they used to do as kids. So the changes that they've seen was from that was the the telephones, what we've got now that we hold and carry in our hands or pockets of handbags. What they started with, of course, was that box on the wall that had the little horn thing attached with a cord that had the other thing that you put to your ear, whichever way you held it, and you wound it up to get the little current clicking to the telephonist in the town, and you'd have to speak into it that way. There wasn't any dialing in, it was the telephonist that was operating the telephone connection. And that's where it happened, was at the telephone exchange, where they sat and plugged in cords to connect you to what number you wanted to speak to. So, that would have been the biggest, one of the biggest changes. Even electricity, rather than being the Dunlight systems that were on windmills those windmills were like our wind turbines, but they were almost like the Southern Cross water pumps, those windmills, but it was charging what was a 32, now I can't remember I think 32 was the number. I'm not sure, Mark, if you've experienced that as part of your memories, but I know when we bought our farm on Kangaroo Island, there was still the framework for the old Dunlight electric generation system that they had on the farm there, the station there, because it was a station to start with. We did own Yurta Station for a number of years. It wasn't usable, but it's certainly how the power was started there. And, there's another great change in how things have been done from where my parents experienced it, what I've experienced, even as far as shifting from the party lines to our mobile devices and computing. Everything was done by hand when you started business back when we did. You wrote by hand your invoicing. You could use a typewriter. You wrote by a typewriter. And, roll the paper in, type away, roll the paper in, type away. I mean, those who've seen the manual typewriters would know what I'm talking about. There's so many things that have developed over that time that really has it progressed for us. Our water systems, in the way that we have piped water everywhere, that's another change. And as far as the physical changes for farming and irrigation and all of that once upon a time you would not have had, and that once upon a time is only just last century. Really, that's where a lot of this started to change, and having the system in place that changed society, because it means that we could have higher production of our food base, and the way that we transport it now as well. The size of the vehicles that are used to transport it, a lot used to be by train only, the freight system. Now we have semi-trucks transporting, most trucks, transporting our food and, our food and commodities and manufactured goods and everything all over the place, because it's a lot more flexible, yes, but it certainly does some ecological miles, doesn't it? In the way that we're even flying, a lot of freight is carried by planes, by ship, all sorts of different ways that wouldn't have been there at the start of what we would have experienced as children. And, it's changed society. The way that we educate now is, a lot of it is online, like we've got here. I've got so many online classes that I'm learning from, that I've signed up for and probably haven't started or finished. It's just so much choice and so many different things that we can join in on with social media. That's the biggest change that has changed our society. And definitely it is in my lifetime. Where that's going to finish by the time my lifetime's finished, who knows? And hopefully that there is improvement in what life quality and everything else is for my children and grandchildren. We live in hope, and that's what we really do need to be doing and have an awareness about, that it is up to us to move along in our life, creating our story as we want to. Be the change you want to see in the world, pretty much. I'll just close out of that. So consider those questions there as you want to create and have that intention to create your story into written work, into a book. Can certainly help you out in whatever area that you need help. Just ask, and if it's something that I can't personally help with, or Michelle or Steph will be able to point you in the direction to gain that resource, because I do have some areas of connections that can be used and useful in getting things moving along for you. Because one of the things, the further every day rolls over, I am conscious about moving ahead, keeping it moving, and doing the work, because it's no good just left here in your head for, you know, your memory. Yes, you've got wonderful memories, and you really should write it down. Start to write it down, because you don't want to leave it too late until it is. Have that process started. Get it down. Take it from that memory bank and put it in some form. Even if you just pick up your phone and voice record what your thoughts are. And it can be all collated and organised into what can be a very readable story. Just for you if you want it that way, for your kids, your close family, or it can be something that you can develop and grow into being worthy of publication. And that is something that I think everyone could do. Need to, maybe. You know, not everyone wants to, but it's fine. Here to help out where I can. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for today. I only got 2 minutes, doesn't matter. I do have, or did I have, here I did, I went and put the screen down again, of course. Just trying to think, where did that one come? There. Boomer Press. Oh, that's the thing I'm supposed to have scrolling at the start. Yeah, it shows up now, doesn't it? There we go. I'll leave it there for this time. Certainly the Boomer Press, I'm just going to put the link, boomerpress.online. It should be in the comments area for those spaces that it can go to, as far as the YouTube and the Facebook. My page, it won't go to my page, it will go to the 5 Foot Rope TV. I think it won't go to my profile, because that's where I've sent the live stream to. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy the process of remembering and writing it down, and we'll see what we can create together. Visit Boomer Press. There is a registration of interest form on the pages there somewhere, contact page at least anyway. You know how a website standard is, you've got a contact page up the top tab. And I'll look forward to seeing you on Sunday is the next session for this, and we'll see what we can share together then. Thank you very much, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.